We are back with another Starcraft 3v3 this time on Desert Strike in Courts like official. Not that big of a deal. This is one of the older ones. Most people are Epic, and we'll get this going in a little bit faster. Most common strategy right now, I know our team is a Protoss, a Zerg, and a Protoss. So we got some good matchups with that. I didn't want to go Terran because I know Orange was Protoss, and that means a 1 in 3 chance that he would have Zerg behind him. As Brown and
You have not enough minerals.
the light gray
You have not enough
both
minerals.
went random.
You have not enough minerals.
Right now I can kind of see,
You have not
look
enough
at there,
minerals.
come, I do this, just doing the normal whatevers. Nothing too exciting going on to start with. We see that all 3 of our workers went out. We're going to try to kite the enemy, just be a little annoying. Delay. And yeah, there's not much to talk about. We can kind of see that, Brown, I haven't looked over there yet, but they ping it out for me. And I see that Brown is a Zerg. So I know we have a direct mirror matchup, which means who does the better one. Blue goes ahead and kites downward, he's taking those zealots away. I am trying to kite the one zealot so Brown doesn't get both of them. Just make it harder on him to get both, but I didn't quite do it, but time to go back, get
Command
units.
center upgrade complete.
My normal opening is usually Zealot to Adept. I think it works best, and you can see that on my mirror side he also went Zealot to Adept as red, the first position. And luckily, I get off it's kind of RNG at this point, but you can kind of use your worker just to poke in that extra 15 damage here and there. It does a little bit, but not too much. It does help in these circumstances where you can kind of get the last hit, or help your guy get the last hit. And right here, I just kind of maneuver him up so that I get a better position. I get my guy out of there. If you destroy your worker using the beacon, it refunds you to 50, and then you can just remake your worker, and therefore he's at full strength. But you can kind of see Brown's being pretty good with the kiting. I gotta say, like, he is the one out there kiting. They kind of lose the early game because the others aren't kiting. So this guy, I already saw. He was 4 zealots, 1 stalker. So I'm just gonna tell my teammate that, hey, that kind of looks like he's just gonna go early Archon into DT. A DT is kind of an easy one to get rid of. The hardest ones are Lurker, Widowmine, because they're not very kited. Widowmine's a little bit easier, as you can kind of just teleport back and bait the mine every time. So you can kind of go out before wave, bait the mine, and it doesn't get the value at the start. Right there, Brown kind of went a little too early. I saw that I kind of went in way too early and get out of there. Don't lose your 50 minerals. Especially if you can't rebuild your worker, then you actually waste time on gas, because the way this works is your worker has to be alive for that cooldown to go down. I don't get why that is, but that's the way it works. So if you lose your worker, that's it.
Command center upgrade complete.
You have not enough minerals.
Yeah, you lose your worker, you lose out on
Command
that time
center
mining.
upgrade
So
complete.
I used to do this for more adepts, but kind of gotten off that, you can build 2 adept into Stalker Forge and get out your Stalker and, ability to tech early. So there I am, I'm pinging. Yep, called it. There's the DT. You know, not a big deal. We can kind of kite it. This isn't the end. Going in early DT will just put pressure on. It's a good call, as you saw in like my last video. I was kind of saying, oh, I cut out the DT because that 350 investment. Well, it's like 770 investment because you have to buy the Archon too. It forces them to get detection. So here I am. I'm gonna come on out. I'm going to do this trick now. Units won't target your probe unless he's on attack mode, and they're never really in attack mode. So I see where he is against where the sentry is. So I'm like, alright, let me poke the stalker, waste his blink so my units can kill it faster. I see where this guy is, wait till the stalker's dead, then I start attack moving. And it will grab the DT's attention because he's like, ah, yes, this Zealot's in attack mode, I can go after it. What I don't notice is my friend got Overseer. So I lost it because my probe went back to go hit the DT and it died. So there I am. Heck, you know, I lost it. So roaches are kind of hard to kite. And so teal does a good blink out of there, blue does a good blink, and I'm going to go in and try to step on them so that way they don't get into range fast enough, but it didn't quite work out. I'm not sure if it's just better to let them go in because then they're wasting more time. Don't know. We lost the little mega mini cannon, but it's not the end of the world. I go in, I poke it once, twice, take a hit. You know, just taking that one little hit or poking in the 15 damage in the early game kind of matters. You can bait out things, you can kite things away. My favorite, I didn't do it in this game, is when you're if they're kiting units upwards around the thing and your units aren't getting it, you can kind of poke it, like poke the silo, and cause their units to go up north more. Thus, they'll actually go and fight it. Like, their units will go up to kill your probe and run into your own units, and it's kind of a win-win. I haven't showed it off in this game, but I hope to show it off. So,
Command center upgrade complete.
My main strategy is always get out 6 at depth. They tend to do well up to 6.
Command center
You can get in
upgrade
10
complete.
later, but like 6 is good early game. So I have a Zerg behind me, which means I know exactly that if I just match Sentry against even if he matches Sentry, my Zerg can come in and save me. But he also has a Zerg. So now we're getting into who can stack better. If he's the one who can stack better, then I'm actually losing out by making all that Sentry.
You have not enough minerals.
Like, he'll stack up, he'll get better units, and here I am just commenting, like, look at all those Zealots, like, Zealots against the Protoss aren't the best units, and there I go misplacing a Forge. And I wanted to talk about my game I did last time, but it felt like, whatever, don't need to tell him all this stuff. It felt a little bad-mannered, and I didn't want to be like that. So we get the silo, we get 1,000 minerals, so we're already ahead. Unfortunately, we lose our detection here, just because they didn't make theirs, and we have lurkers. And here I am just telling him Sentry's kind of overpowered against Protoss. Most Protoss don't know how to combat it. I wanted to show how to do it this game, but you know, the cards just didn't work out in that way. And you always build to like combat the enemy. So I choose like the best race, and sometimes I do these silly builds. So here we are, 9th Sentry, 1 Immortal. We build up. The 9th Sentry will create a nice little buffer of hallucinations. I showed this off in my last game. Why you don't go Archon Zealot against Sentry. It just never works out. There's the guy Zealots, and he's got more. I'm not keen. I think honestly, with my ally, he could have gotten up more depths. He didn't need to get into the Archon. Blue cutting right here isn't the best. He does lose his worker, loses out a little bit of minerals, and they coming off from an off angle instead of just going into the Zealots to begin with. Now I can see if you were baiting out a mothership core thing, that would work. But no time at all, he takes it out. The Sentry pushed the Archons back, because Archons don't outrange Adepts. And here's my guy, he made 5 Archon. So if you think about it, that is 2,600 minerals? Or you could have gotten 2 more, what's it called, Immortals. Which could have done well, or gotten out your own few, Sentry. Which is a strategy. If you can out-Sentry them, and kind of out-Immortal them, you'll do better in the long run. So I'm a little worried about his Immortal, but, you know, my ally's making a decent enough wave. But, so I'm not a fan of Infestor. I think they're an okay unit, but having the Roach in front really does make a difference. Like, is that extra bit of unit, is it extra little damage? You'll see here, after I get like 5 Immortal, I do go for Adept. I think 4 Adept is pretty damn good. 4 Fast Adept into a little bit of like Berserker. Because as my ally kind of sentries up and pushes their units back, the only thing I want to do right now is buffer for his Mortals. The Adepts aren't in there for damage, the Adepts aren't in there to like bait out Infestors, or bait out Widows, or bait out Mines, or anything. They are only there to, like you can see here, my Stalker King. My Adepts could have been there and saved 2 Immortals. But they weren't. And then by the time my Adepts come in, I would have had those Outcast Immortal, or Outcast Zealots in, and they would have saved the other 2. So we'd have had 2 more in here, and then I would have pushed it a little bit harder. But right here you can see that Zerg got a pretty okay stack. The only issue is they're still stuck behind all my Sentry. And my Zerg went up more Hydra. Now, Hydra behind Immortals is pretty difficult to beat, and here we're kind of in a fishy situation. Fortunately, my Zerg had upgraded his Hydra. Their Hydra aren't upgraded, so they're not outranging his Hydra. And my hallucinations are holding back his Hydra. So you see that now they're just empty units. They're just sitting there getting picked off. Right here you can see the hallucinations. Once they're cleared up, the units are a little split up, but they get back together. This is a pretty decent thing for them. Now this guy had gotten 4 Fast Adept right here, and some Outcasts. He could be saving his ally 1, 2, 3, 4. But he got Mothership Cores. He got Archons. Notice that his Archons aren't doing that much. They're getting pushed around the side, sure, and then they're getting damage in at the side and, you know, being a little bit of a nuisance, but so what? And he got Mothership Cores, that's great, but they're just not doing anything. Now, to counter this build, I would honestly say Mothership Cores are a good thing. I would go up to Mothership Core 6 into not Tempest, Oracle. Oracle does relatively well against Protons. They don't have a good counter to it. You could go a Void Prism, which will work, but eventually with the Oracles, you get some Outcast, and you know, you get these Outcasts from the Archon, you get some Zealots, you get all this like brute force putting units right on top of each other. They can Void Prism into High Templar, into their own Archon, Adept. That'll pretty much do it. Here I'm telling him he has 2 Void Ray. I thought, okay, well he didn't realize that I was talking about them, but whatever. So I'm just trying to explain it. Maybe he already understands. I'm just reiterating myself. But here we go. A Colossus is pretty decent. Um, with hallucinations, they'll sit back and sometimes they'll kill hallucinations. Here you can see my outcasts are coming in, and now they're buffering a little bit for those immortals. And now we're starting to landslide. And it's about this time that when I think, okay, we're landsliding, we're stacking, this is the time to tech up. When you start to stack. If I know my immortals are always going to be saved by the Zerg, and I can kind of predict that, why not tech up into those higher tier units? What I see a lot of teams trying to do is they'll stay with their immortals, they'll stay with the lower tier units because they're working. And hey, they'll work and work until like wave 50 or 60. I mean, that's 20 waves away. Like, why would you worry about that right now? But getting out one right now, and then one a little later, suddenly I'm teched up. You can get more and more immortals. It's almost... it'll almost work. Like, to a certain point, getting enough units is better than just getting teched up units. If you have ever played and tried just to go straight into a Colossus, you're going to lose. 6 Adept can beat 1 Colossus when you don't have any meat in front. The whole point is to build up your front wave so there's less for them to, be able to actually fight. Those higher tier units in the back are actually able to stack and deal more damage. So here we go. The 4 Adept didn't do as much against the Sentry, but there we go. They rushed in. They took out most of the Infestor, and that lets my units kind of clump up. Now here's a little bit point of contention. So now he's got a Swarm Guardian, the Zerg, and they're stacking pretty well, so they have the opportunity right now to do pretty well. But my Zerg countered pretty well. He already has out a Bruta. These Brutalisks are long-range anti-air, and they'll start picking at them. Now they might not kill them all, but doing that little bit of damage, bam, he gets it because one of his infestors got the Colossus, and therefore both his Brutus targeted it down. And they're just doing a little bit of damage. It's perfect. And here I'm thinking, okay, we're getting pushed back a little bit, but I know he can hold on against this Protoss. Not only can he hold on, I can get there probably at the same time the other Toss is getting reinforced. So I know I can beat my wave, and we'll also get 3 more Colossus, and hopefully it will stack. And you can kind of see how this snowballing starts to work out. If I had just gotten more Immortals, yeah, we would have stacked. But there they are, there's the Adepts, they get in there, they're poking out some damage, they're distracting other units. My Outcasts get in there, they start buffering more and more damage until all of my wave gets in there. And I didn't waste a whole bunch of money on the Adepts, I didn't waste a whole bunch of money on the Oracle, the Outcasts, so I can get in there. And here we go. So now the Zerg is pushing into a concave of Immortals, followed by Colossus. And it's just the deletion of his wave. Like, utter annihilation. And there's nothing that Zerg can do. He is doing the right thing. He's getting up his Swarm Guardians. But the other guy's got Brutus. I would have said getting 2 Queens would be good. And that's what exactly Brown does. He gets his 2 Queens. I'm like, oh man, those Colossus, 10 kills, 15 kills, 20 kills, they're just doing the work. And a Colossus isn't meant to kill Protoss. Like, you will see they don't really kill out the Immortals. They do trigger their shields in the line. They do add that extra layer of damage. When you're playing Zerg, there's a reason why you get all three types of Hydra. One has 5 range, one has 6.5, and one has 7. There's 3 ranges of damage. If you just got one, they'd all be at 5 range. So it doesn't, or 6 range, whatever they're at. So they wouldn't hit as much. And then one goes to 6.5 and one has 7. So now there are like 3 waves can hit the same front unit. Blue does a great call here, slows all of his units down. There's no reason to send out all those Zerglings and let their wave stack harder. Here I am, I'm giving him a little pep talk. I don't accept failure. I think you should kill 2 waves all by yourself. That's sarcasm. I know Blue's gonna lose here. Plenty of Immortal against the Protoss. He has no real thick front line, and he's also against 3 Guardians. And there's Brown with the 2 Queens. Look how 2 Queens, same investment as 1 Brutalisk, and they'll hold the line. Oh, they're just... Queens are underappreciated sometimes. To deal with Queens, I mean, they're good to a point. I wouldn't get more than 4 or 5. Because they start to walk away from your air. So here we go. Look, they're getting tickled to death. Those 2 Archons are going in, and boom. Let's see. Can Teal hold on? The guy's got 3 Tempests. Tempests are pretty damn good. They're many people refer to as the end game unit for Protoss. I mean, you just get Tempest, you win. I know I can't afford a Tempest. It's $950 to get just a Void Ray and then even more money. But the way I look at it, I'm like, I got enough Sentry. Sentries will make Phoenix, they'll make Void Prisms, and Tempests tend to fight those. But I don't really need to worry about Tempest. My Zerg made plenty of Hydras, and all I need to do is stack enough that he gets enough Immortal underneath him, and we can wipe out that. You know, Tempest will be great later on. If this game lasts another 40 rounds, he'd probably start winning with his Tempest. At least at one point, his Tempest would do better. He would always have more Tempest. I joke about his Zerg disappearing, and there's 2 lurkers underneath the Protoss army. It's just a bad day. Teal's also laughing. It might sound like bad manners, but honestly, they are playing pretty well. That Zerg is doing pretty decent. That Toss is doing pretty decent. The only issue is they made Archon. Like, those Archons don't do as well as you think. And you can see this wave, it doesn't have any Adepts. Adepts aren't the best, but they're a good buffering unit. They take a few hits, they put something between you and your Immortals, so that way they last a little bit longer. And you're going to see they're going to have to boom again. The only issue is they didn't get enough Protoss behind it. They just... And we stacked before, so like, why would you... I would have boomed on this wave. I would have boomed on Teal's wave with Mir. I think that might have been better. Or boomed on the Zerg wave. Would that have been better? I have to be in the moment on their side to go, okay, I know what the issue is, and I can see what they're building. But here I can't see. I didn't do like my other one where I analyzed why you don't build that. Or build this. Like right now, just... The Queens are doing well, and everything like that, and Blue has the it's okay for a little while wave. The Mass Hydra are okay until they're not. And they become not pretty soon. If he got 3 or 4 of those Guardians out, he'd start to melt them away, and they would be like little to no actual thing. That little lurker, and then boop, just deleted. So like, they have good end game waves. Honestly, I think give this more time, they would have been doing well. However, there's reasons for what I built, right? I built myself 4 mothers, of course, not because I do the slow field, but because it takes a few hits for their Tempest to kill. It's just a few hits I need to keep them alive long enough and annoying enough for my Adepts to get underneath them and kill them. Like, that's it. Like, that's all I'm looking to do, is just slow down. Just need to slow down. And right here, they realize, they're like, there's not much we can really do. I don't know. I think you can still boom this wave right here, and you do pretty well. Tempest, stacking on, and all this other stuff. I don't have a good answer for that. But can they puncture through all of my immortal Sentry? Maybe. Maybe if they had boomed here, they could have survived. In most games, I try to last for the, I try to make the game last. I like to go to sudden death. And there we go, we got players leaving. And this game, they kind of gave up. They're like, alright, this is GG, there's not much we can do. We won't even boom, we won't stop anything. We're just gonna take the loss. They played well enough. They really did. They did pretty damn good. Alright, I want to thank you guys for watching. You guys can find me on Twitch at ThePresence10, or you can subscribe here for more videos. I would like to thank you all again. Take care. Peace out.